The Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University.
What a pass. Giddy underneath for JRE. The reverse and the rookie-to-rookie action. SGA defended closely by Westbrook. Tough. Step back. Gets up the shot. Banks it in for the lead.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested podcast. We're coming to you live Sunday, September 11th, just a few short weeks away from NBA training camp, from preseason basketball. NFL is here as of, I guess, a few days ago, but officially today. And we are brought to you by Blue Wire Podcast and DailyThunder.com. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. Then we got Taylor Peterson with me.
Chiefs won. First regular season game of the season. It's gorgeous weather out here in Oklahoma. Hopefully it is down in Justin's neck of the woods. Pretty good day as a whole.
We've got Justin Peabody with us.
Hello, everybody.
And it's the three-man show tonight.
The three-man weave.
I also have to ask, did you have a stroke during the intro just now?
Basketball. He's got a new mouthpiece, okay?
Yeah, I have like this new like thing that I have to wear.
I didn't know that. Well, now I feel bad.
That's okay. Dude, it sucks. I have to eat and everything. It's like
really?
I have a TMJ problem that
Oh.
causes like a lot of pain. It makes my ears ring and stuff. So I have to wear this thing 24/7 for the next 6 months.
Awesome.
Ugh.
Yeah, not awesome at all.
So you brush in it and everything?
I can take it out to brush, and then I wear a top one at night.
Yeah.
But that's become a problem because I clench at night.
Ooh.
And the top one is designed. It's got this big piece that hangs down. That way my jaw doesn't slide. My bottom jaw doesn't slide back. But
I wear a
instead,
mouthpiece at night.
my teeth just push on that thing like a mother effer all night long. And I wake up and my teeth hurt really, really, really bad.
Ugh.
Well, that sucks.
I'm not having a good time. Straight up not having a good time, guys.
Poor Jacob has a podcast and teach with a lisp.
Yeah, the kids are already bullying me.
Yeah.
Of course they are.
One of
Fail them all.
Yeah.
F,
They're like,
F,
what
F.
did you say, Mr. Niffen? And I'm like, I'm going to kick your ass. Get away from me.
I said you failed, asshole.
Freaking
Oh.
jerks.
We'll
Well,
get Mike Tyson on the show.
Yeah, that's right.
someone who might not be having a bad time this season, our guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Before we're going to talk about Shai as an all-star this year, but before we dive into that, you guys watch the Shai runs, the Shai pickup runs with the Thunder guys?
Not too shabby.
He looks good. He looks in shape. He looks bigger, better, and he just like even amongst like pretty elite NBA competition again in a pickup run. But I felt that he knew he was the best player on the court, and he acted like it. I think Jacob, you tweeted a lot about it. Yeah, that's what I was going to mention.
He talks some trash.
I feel the complete opposite about off-season pickup runs that I do summer league. Like, summer league is meaningless. Off-season pickup runs are the only thing that's real.
They are
like,
everything.
Yeah, they are everything. Draw every conclusion. Every overreaction is going to manifest itself. Shea for MVP. That's the only conclusion.
Well, if that's the case, I watched Darius Baisley airball some shots in
Like I said,
pickup run. I watched Poku. He was in the video, but he was like an NPC. He didn't do anything.
Like I
Just
said,
existed in the background. J-Dub looks clean.
J-Dub, solid. Real nice.
Usman Jang had a wide open layup and said dribble to the corner, and I was like, oh no.
Like me on 2K.
We took this guy at 11. I hope he's all right.
I was going to say, yeah, he drove baseline, had a wide open layup, and then he dishes it out. And then somebody in the
Lou, I think, is yelling, "What are you doing?"
Okay, it was Lou. It was Lou. I was wondering
Sounds
who that
like
was.
me at pickup run. Just yelling at everyone, "What are you doing?" All right, gentlemen. Well, let's talk some Shai All-Star. Lots of discussion going on. Like, can Shai break out this year? Is this the year where he officially gets into the All-Star conversation? I think he's already in the All-Star conversation, but makes the All-Star game. What would that look like? So I want to talk a little bit about that tonight. First, to give some context, about the All-Star game. Each All-Star team, so the West and the East, get 12 players in. You get 2 starting guards and 3 starting front court players. 50% of that is decided by the fan vote, 25% by player vote, 25% by media vote. I feel like the starters a little bit
We've got to
rigged,
change that.
gentlemen.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mean Aaron? I almost said Aaron Wiggins. Out of habit. Andrew Wiggins shouldn't have been a starter last year.
The fan vote, I think, is bad. And then players just troll. I mean, Brandon Clark from the Memphis Grizzlies got like 10 player votes for him last year.
Yep.
That's ridiculous to me. But anyways, you get 2 guards, 3 front court players. Then the coaches pick 2 bench guards and 3 bench front court players. So we're at 10 players. And they also pick 2 players that we'll kind of call them the flex guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're picked by coaches, but it doesn't matter position. They can be whatever. SGA this year will most likely only be listed as a guard for the All-Star game. When you look at last year on basketballreference.com, Shea spent 98% of all of his minutes at the 1 or the 2. Only 2% of his minutes came at the 3. So even though he is 6'6", he is going to be listed as a guard for all-star purposes. That means he only has 6 possible spots on that all-star team. 1 of the 2 starters, 1 of the 2 bench guys, or 1 of the 2 flex guys. Okay? Everyone follow so far?
Yep.
We're all on the same page.
Can we all agree that they should eliminate the positional requirement as well?
100%.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Same for all NBA. Agreed.
Yep.
So last year, the guards for the West. Starters, John Morant, Steph Curry. Bench guards, Devin Booker, Luka Doncic. Donovan Mitchell and Chris Paul were the 2 flex guys. And then DeJounte Murray made guard number 7. The reason the West got 7 guards last year was because Draymond Green got selected as an all-star but was injured. And so the replacement, they can pick anybody for a replacement. So they picked DeJounte Murray. Well, this year, we look at it. DeJounte Murray and Donovan Mitchell, 2 of the guys that made it last year, no longer in the West.
Huzzah.
Some spots are opening up. So instead of just saying, 2 spots opened up, let's slide Shea in there. I wanted us to actually do a Western Conference All-Star draft. And we're going to go in the order that the All-Stars would go on. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can see we have a little Google sheet pulled up here, and we're going to go through and make our selections. I've listed on this sheet 16 guards and 16 front court players that I think are probably the pool of all-star candidates this next year. Maybe you guys have somebody else that's not on this list, but it's 32 players. It's like 6.5 starting lineups of the 15 West teams. So I think it's pretty thorough.
I think we got
covered all the bait. Yeah, all the bases here.
So let's start with the 2 starting guards for the West. Justin, I'll let you have pick number 1.
It's got to be Steph.
You're still taking Steph this year? You don't think there's any step back?
No, because of all the criteria that you said earlier, the heavy emphasis on fan vote. Steph's in. He's a lock. He's a lock as much as you can be a lock because of the fan support. I think he's gonna be number 1 by a wide margin.
All right, Steph Curry is off the list then.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I wonder. Part of me thinks maybe Steph isn't going to have as good of a year next year. He is getting older.
I agree with that.
Maybe he gets injured. But yeah, the way the starters are voted on, I'm kind of with you.
Yep.
I'm going to take the second guard then, and Taylor can have first pick of the forwards. Second guard, and this one's kind of interesting to me. I listed Luka Doncic as a guard. I think he gets guard and forward.
Of course he does.
On the list, which is BS. But I think Luka is probably top 3 MVP candidate next year. I think he's going to get a lot of overseas fan votes. I think he's going to get a ton of media votes.
Yep.
I think he's going to get a ton of player votes. I wouldn't be surprised if Luka Doncic is actually number 1 overall when you factor in all those three things together.
Agree completely, and especially like his Euro hoops run, where
Dude.
what was he, the first player in the last, like I don't want to misquote this, but I feel like it was the last century, or I don't know, maybe it was something smaller like last decade,
Last
but
millennia.
millennia. It wasn't like the only player, but in recent history, we'll put it that way, Luka is the only player to have three
Jeez.
straight 30-point games.
There we go.
30 plus point games in Euro hoops history, which is pretty cool.
And doing it while drinking Coca-Cola and smoking cigarettes, nonetheless.
Yeah, apparently he was
Hey,
out there
just like Poku's old teammates over at Olympiacos.
Exactly.
Yes.
Taylor, you get first pick of all the front court guys. Who are you taking?
Man, I mean, I feel like it would be very hard for me not to go with Jokic. I mean, reigning MVP, just do it all guy. I don't see any other front court player who would make it above him. And to your earlier point, Jacob, like again, has the overseas vote as well. So I think Jokic would be the first player I would take there.
Justin, you have any qualms with that?
Look,
No,
Zion.
I don't have a qualm with him being chosen. I think LeBron beats him out for votes for the same reason that Steph, I think, will be the top vote getter for guards, because he's LeBron and he's going to be the top vote getter until he dies, probably.
So I'm just putting your pick as LeBron then.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I don't see any way. Again, he could play half a game, and I think he'd still be the top vote getter.
Hey,
Agreed.
for what it's worth,
Agreed.
on as far as fan votes are concerned, I was looking at it on NBA.com earlier today. Last year, Carmelo Anthony was like 7th.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That
tells you
that's
all
a good
you need to
example.
know.
If you have a Lakers
Very good
uniform,
example.
you're good for at least 50,000 votes or so.
Yeah.
So far, this is the same starting lineup as last season for the West, minus Doncic. We get one more front court player.
That's crazy that Luka.
I will take this one, and I'm going Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Assuming he's healthy.
Yep.
Assuming the Clippers are as good as we think they are. I think that's
Yep.
spot on.
I agree.
So we have Steph, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonard as the starting five for the West. Now we get to move on to the bench. We're going to flip the order here. We're going to start with the three front court players for the bench. So Taylor, Taylor is up here. Taylor, who do you want your next guy? For those of you guys listening to the show and not watching on YouTube, the names we have left on front court: Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, Jeremy Grant, Paul George, Anthony Davis, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Domantas Sabonis, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and then I put Keldon Johnson on there as well.
Yep. Oh, so this is actually kind of tough because now that we're talking about reserves, fan votes out of the picture here. So like I would personally eliminate Andrew Wiggins, for example, and with Draymond Green, like even all the great things that he does, the glue guy, I'm not sure that he would, hit that threshold either. So
Draymond's a good defender, but I'm not picking a guy for an all-star that's going to shoot like 35% from the field.
Right, exactly. So this is where it gets interesting is like, Zion, right? If he is healthy, I feel like you have to go with him here, but you have Cat, which is obviously another really great one, and Anthony Davis. So I'm kind of torn between those three right now. I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to Zion because I feel like if he's playing, he's going to have those stats. And like you said, Jacob, earlier, the coaches, the players, they really like Zion. So let's go ahead and throw Zion in there. But again, those other two are really tough.
I think that's a good point. The feel good story aspect. If he's playing and he's doing well after the rough start to his career, I could see him getting that nod kind of for that reason.
Typically, and one thing to kind of think of as we continue to move on here, teams that are like number one in their conference typically get 2, maybe 3 all-stars.
Yep.
True.
So far,
good point.
We have just one from each team.
Good point.
Yep.
Justin?
Yeah.
You're up.
Yeah.
He's like,
No,
am I?
this definitely does get trickier. I think that I'm with Taylor. Andrew Wiggins, Draymond, not really doing it for me. Then you look at like Rudy Gobert and Cat. To your point, both Timberwolves. I think I wonder what do their stats look like now that they share the floor together. Do the Timberwolves get two players? They'd have to be pretty dang good, I think, to get two players.
True.
And I'm eyeballing Anthony Edwards over in the guard column too.
Yep.
So there's a lot to consider with the T-Wolves. Anthony Davis is obviously just a massive question mark because of I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get from AD this season. I don't know if we're gonna see AD on the floor much, or is he?
I still think of that nickname, Anthony Davis. So good.
Yes, yeah.
Will
so
he be healthy?
I don't know, which makes me a little wary of picking him. All that said, somebody we missed that I could see making a return would be Paul George.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of expecting maybe we finally get to see a little bit of what this Clippers duo can do. Maybe this is the year they come out and have a hot start. They're up towards the top of the West. You get Kawhi and PG on the All-Star team. I could see it happening. So I'm going to pick PG.
I like it. Hey, the Thunder don't own a Clippers pick next year. I don't care how the Clippers play. They could be the best team in the league. Actually, I would love for the Clippers to be
the
great
year,
and then
right?
fizzle out in the playoffs and then
Yes.
decide it's not going to work and one of them leaves.
Yes.
Beautiful.
All right, so we have our first team with two guys. The Clippers get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. That means we have one more front court player left, which I get to choose.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is a fun one. There's some really fun options.
This is some tough choices.
I'm with you guys on the Wiggins and Green train. I'm not going to take either of them. Jeremy Grant is an interesting one, but I think he's going to be more of a role guy out in Portland now.
Agree.
This is difficult.
It's kind of like Rudy, Cat, or
I was
AD,
just about to say,
right?
Are we going to shame Jacob into picking Rudy Gobert?
God, no.
I can feel the tension coming from
If Silver were on right now, he would have played the sounder.
I don't think Mikal Bridges is going to get it. DeAndre Ayton is an interesting one.
Yep.
Domantas Sabonis is a really interesting one to me.
Not a chance.
You don't think so?
No.
Interesting. Brandon Ingram is good. Do I want a second Pelican on there?
Yep. Not gonna happen.
I'm not going Keldon Johnson. I'm not going Anthony Davis. So really for me, it's coming down to like Cat, Ayton, or Sabonis.
I just don't think Sabonis is going to get that nod on his current team.
That's kind of how I feel, even though I think Sabonis will have a really good season.
Yep.
And maybe this is something I'm going to try and file this back in the back of the brain, Justin, for our preseason bets podcast, because it's a fun way to kind of do a preseason covering of the entire league. But I'm with you there. I feel the same way, even though I think Sabonis is going to have the stats that Jacob's referring to. I'm not sure that the Kings are going to be good enough to give him that nod.
100%.
Which is very contradictory of me to say that, coming from somebody who covers and is a fan of the Thunder who thinks that SGA can or could make it. So I understand that. I just think this front court is very, very stacked. And I think that's kind of what Jacob's coming from.
Yep.
All right, you talked me into it. I'm going Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah. Beautiful. We know you weren't going Gobert.
There's no way.
I agree on Grant. Sabonis is close, but I think that's the
okay.
Three-point champion Karl Anthony Towns.
The two that was between.
So we have got two starting guards, 3 starting forwards, 3 bench forwards. We now have our 2 bench guards and then our 2 flex positions.
Oh boy.
And Taylor is up.
We're going with the 2 guard positions first, right? Before we do the flex.
Yep. Correct.
I kind of like that idea. This one's honestly is pretty easy for me, and not just because you have him at the top of our Google Doc for those looking. It's Ja, right? I think he's going to have another monster season, pending injury, which again, knock on wood, it's got to be Ja.
I'm totally with you. Like,
Agreed.
he might not get the starting nod because of other guys, but he's going to be awesome, and he's going to get in. I do think his team might take a bit of a step back this year.
Yeah.
Going a little younger, but Jaw's Jaw. He's insane.
I feel like this next one's pretty easy too. So I'm excited to see who Justin takes.
Desmond Bain, boys. No, I agree.
Boo.
I think this next one is pretty obviously Devin Booker. I think he gets that last nod. He would. Is that not what you were gonna say, Taylor?
I was going to go Anthony Edwards. I think Edwards is going to be
okay.
Lightning in a bottle this season. I'm excited.
I'm going with Booker. I think he would have to just take a massive step back for this not to happen. I expect the Suns to, be in the top half of the Western Conference standings again. I think that'll have a lot to do with it. Like, if he's the best player on the Suns, which I think he will be, and the Suns are in the top 4 of the West, there's no way he's not going to be an all-star.
I don't disagree with you with the selection. Like, Booker's making it, whether it's this guard selection or whether we take him in the flex. So I agree.
All right, we are down to our 2 flex positions,
Man.
guys. Not just brutal. Because I want to have enough spots for Shea, but there's just so many more guards than there are forwards. The guards we have left: Chris Paul, Dame, Ant Edwards, Jamal Murray, Shea, Klay Thompson, John Wall, Russell Westbrook, De'Aaron Fox, Jalen Green, Desmond Bain, CJ McCollum. For the record, I'm not going Wall or Westbrook.
Nope,
that's not happening.
Nope.
I'm also not going Chris. I love Chris Paul. Nope. I don't think he's going to make it this year.
Agreed.
I think he's taking a step back. This is going to be his age 37 season. Like, that's
old.
We've all mentioned Anthony Edwards, obviously.
Yep.
Depending what Portland looks like, Dame could get in for sure.
I know. I was thinking
Jamal Murray making his return. We all think Denver is going to be really good. Do they get 2 All-Stars? Does Klay go off?
Or does Klay get the fan vote that bumps him into the starters, and therefore one of our starters gets bumped down, which sucks.
Could happen.
But
could happen. But I'm going to go Anthony Edwards here. I think if you polled league wide, just beat writers, beat reporters, media members, etc., I think they would all say Anthony Edwards is going to get in, which means we have 1 spot left.
Oh, that's brutal.
Taylor, it's yours.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, if it's mine, obviously.
We know where this is going.
I'm taking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Let's be clear.
Am I crazy to think that he is the right answer?
Well,
I'm picking Dame.
That's kind of what I'm getting into. Yes. I'm thinking player votes, team, or coach votes, like Dame. The other one I'm really thinking about, Justin, is Jamal Murray coming back from injury. If the Nuggets are as good as we think that they can be, it's probably because Jamal is playing well alongside Jokic. So maybe Jamal gets a nod there. But again, like to Jacob's point, like that's somebody I would feel comfortable taking Shea over at this point.
Yeah.
And then again, like I keep thinking about that Klay. This is stupid fan vote. If Klay becomes a starter because of that, he has the Andrew Wiggins nod, right? That bumps one of our guards down that we have. So a Luka. It won't be Steph, so Luka.
Yeah.
And that's one less spot.
I don't know that Klay will get enough to be a starter. I think it's
I hope not.
I think you're dead on. Like, it's Dame, Jamal Murray, Shea in that tier. I can see Shea getting it if Portland struggles. But I think it probably goes to Dame. If I were building this list out today, I'm putting Dame on it.
Portland can struggle, but they're not going to Oklahoma City struggle.
Correct.
True.
And I think that's the differentiator amongst, like, Dame's been an all-star before. He's been in the league a while. It's been like discussed ad nauseum, his disrespect and not being picked an all-star, blah, blah, blah. Like he finally got his nod. And I think that's like, it's the thing. It's like, once you're in kind of thing. I think he probably gets the nod if he has a solid year. Again, as long as like the Trailblazers aren't a complete disaster.
So I agree. And I'm going to mention something that Jacob has in the doc that I think will be a really good transition. Like there's kind of a disclaimer there that I think we should discuss. That kind of is the point of this whole exercise, and that like Shea is a really good player, and it appears that he's getting better and better. But Jacob, you mentioned here in the doc that DeJounte Murray filled a Draymond Green spot as a replacement last year in the West, and now obviously Murray's with the Hawks in the East. In this situation, I would agree with Justin. I think that Dame probably gets that spot, and then Shea is probably the quote unquote replacement. Pending injuries, all that all of that. However, there is a world where even without Chet, this team is much better off, or is doing really, really well, exceeding expectations heading into the All-Star break. And if that is the case, I think Shea is obviously leading that charge. And that means they're above teams like Portland, right? That means they're above teams like, I don't know if I want to go far enough and say the Timberwolves quite yet. Like if that is the case, that means Shea gets that nod, right?
Taylor's drinking all that off-season run Kool-Aid right now.
All the blue and orange Kool-Aid.
I'm here for it.
Justin, let me ask you this. What does Shea's counting stats average need to be in order for you to think he gets the last spot?
I think it needs to be marginally higher than Dame's. Like I think
that's a cop out.
No.
Like I agree, but give me numbers, you jerk.
Well, that means I have to look up numbers.
I know.
If you want reference, last season Shea had 24.5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. So it was 24.5, 5 and 6.
What was Dame?
Well, Dame didn't play much of last year at all.
True. Oh,
I can tell you.
I can look it up. Teacher,
Dame played 29 games last year. Dame was 24, 4 and 7.
Okay, so not far off.
Was Dame an All-Star 2 years ago?
Okay, so
or was it 3 years ago?
He's been an All-Star every year since 2017-18.
Okay,
so the past 4 years.
Okay,
the last full season he played, the 2020/21 season, he was at 29 points, 4 rebounds, 7.5 assists.
Yep,
I think that's a good benchmark.
I would say, I don't expect Dame to necessarily match those numbers. I think it might be closer to last year. Again, acknowledging he only played 29 games, but like a little bit lower level, a little bit more in line with his career averages of 26-ish, 25. I think SGA would have to be 28, 29 a game with 8 to 9 assists a game.
Wow.
Because I think he's going to be facing. I do not expect the Thunder to have a great record, and he's going to have to overcome that to get the All-Star nod. Whether you like it or not, it is a team influenced recognition. These guys don't play in a vacuum. They're rewarding team positioning. I don't expect the Thunder to be in a great position at the All-Star break. And I think he's going to have to do a little bit extra to get that nod. It's not easy for teams that are not, in the playoff hunt to get All-Stars unless they're just doing something insane. So I think he's got to overcome that barrier. I don't know that he does. I think the more likely scenario, Taylor alluded to it, but it's the same thing I said last year. I think that it would take an injury or something like that to get Shea in the All-Star game next year. Whether that be somebody gets injured early in the season and doesn't play, or like last year with DeJounte Murray, where someone had been selected, but then they're injured. Either way, I think that's where my head's at. I think it's going to take that to get SGA in that game.
So the last thing I was thinking of is we took Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards as the 2 final guard spots before we got into those flex wild card spots. And so I thought it'd be interesting kind of to look at those stats, what they had last season that got them in as all-stars. You're looking at, well, and again, I don't think, was Edwards an all-star last year?
No.
I don't think he was, yeah. We're assuming he will be this upcoming season. But
we're expecting a jump.
Right. Especially after those playoffs. Now, with Booker, he had 26.8 points, 4.8 assists. See if I can find the total rebounds. 5 rebounds. Like, makes sense. I think those are probably stat lines that Shea is going to have to reach to get the all-star nod. And to Justin's point, the team will have to have the wins to back that up.
But
you look
that's
at Edwards,
exactly what I was going to say is like Devin's been putting up those numbers his whole career. But it wasn't until the Suns were at the top of the standings that he finally got to be an all-star. I think that's the situation Shea's in.
But
like,
where it gets
you can
interesting
put up numbers, but you got to have a record too.
Sorry. I'm not looking at the video right now. I'm looking at B-ball reference. No, I think you're exactly right. Where that gets interesting though, Justin, and I think is what you're getting to is Anthony Edwards. You got his totals from last season, 21.3 points, which is still great, but again, kind of SGA level. 3.8 assists and total rebounds 4.8. But I'm going to switch over here to his playoffs, which was last year, 25.2 points. Let's see, 3 assists, 4.2. I mean, 3.2 rebounds. Or sorry, 3.5 rebounds. Are we sure the Timberwolves are going to have that many more wins than the Thunder? Like, there is a world where SGA is able to get that spot above Anthony Edwards. But I don't know. It's just so tough. Like, there's
Ant's a bigger question mark. I would sooner put SGA above Ant than I would Dame.
Oh, that's interesting.
Not because of where I rank the players, but because of like we're anticipating Ant taking a big jump. We're anticipating the Timberwolves being much better this year. Both of those things may not be true.
That's fair.
And I think we're making, I mean, this whole thing is assumptions, obviously, but like in the chat, Meek Leak calls out, like, if the Suns have a bad season, which is possible, then, Devin Booker drops out of that conversation. I think the team aspect can't be ignored. And I think that, especially with the way we've built this out with Cat and Ant, the Timberwolves are going to have to be, at like 6 probably in the standings.
And also,
if not higher.
I know that like us three have just rattled off counting stats. We aren't talking about true shooting percentages and advanced stats, et cetera. But when it comes down to all-star voting, essentially it's the counting stats that really get the votes. So I think that's why.
Other players aren't breaking down true shooting percentage for
and LeBron and Raptor.
Right. I would argue most coaches probably aren't either. It's tough, man. It's a small list, and there's a lot of good guards, even with the ones that have left. Like, I think that's what made it so hard last year is we started this off with a few guards that are really good that are now in the East. And I think it's still going to be tough. We've talked about narrative and the power of narrative. And I think that is something that SGA could have in his favor. Like, he's had the injuries. He hasn't played full seasons. If Shea's like having a full season, like you guys said, if the Thunder are overachieving, if he's putting up big numbers, they lost Chet, he's putting the team on his back. Like, all those things are hitting. That's a great all-star narrative that could get him the nod.
I think that's key.
Personally, don't think those things will come to fruition.
I kind of think, like, especially based off what you just said, Justin, and Jacob, I'm curious your thoughts on this as well, but I could see us having this very same conversation, but obviously with much more detail, based off, Shea's resume up to that point. Like, having the same conversation, what would that be? February. So not quite 6 months from now, but you guys get the point. Well, heading into All-Star break, we'll be doing a podcast where we're, predicting or debating All-Star selections. And Shea should be there, but he didn't get selected. I don't know.
Just my 2 cents on everything. If Shea is like at 26, 6 and 6 on efficiency, I think he gets in.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I think he should.
I think he should, but I'm biased.
So who's the last person we're putting on the list?
Dame.
I think I'm outnumbered here.
Taylor just said Dame.
What? Did he?
I said Dame.
All right.
Taylor
had
I
the
don't
last
like
question.
it.
Am I
I
that
don't like it.
convincing?
I don't like it at all.
It is. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be an uphill climb. I don't know.
You
The
planting
Chet
your stake
news
right
makes
now?
me so sad that I have to have something to hold on to. And that's
I think
something.
Shea will have the argument regardless. It's kind of what I'm getting at, And I think that's either going to be frustrating or extremely exciting if he does make it.
Interesting. Before we move on, interesting comment in the chat. Kamal here says, I truly think Chet will be the next OKC All-Star. It hurts me. Is that bad news
it
if
hurt
Chet
me.
is the next OKC
No,
All-Star?
that's great news.
I don't know. I'm torn on that. I want Shea to be that first, or getting to be that first, right? Like that development to happen in order. However, to Justin's point, like that probably means that we also have a really talented player younger than Chet, or if not younger, selected under Chet, and in the preceding drafts. So, or subsequent drafts, like not preceding. Regardless, I see what you're getting at, Justin. Like, if Chet's in that next All-Star, that means that we have more talent coming in under him.
I just think there's a lot of good, really good NBA players that have never been All-Stars. Like, look at Mike Conley. He was a really good NBA player for a long time. And it took him, what was it? Like, was it 12, 13, 14 years before he became an All-Star? And like, he was always, I mean, not the best of the best, but he was a top tier guard in the NBA. I could see Shea being similar. And I don't think it's a bad thing if Chet's your first All-Star, because that means you have an All-Star. And I think that's great news. To Taylor's point, maybe it's Chet and, fill in the blank, whoever the Thunder draft this year that become the first two All-Stars. That doesn't make Shea not a really, really good point guard just because he's not an All-Star.
It's very true.
Now, Meek Leak does bring up an interesting point. If he is, meaning that if Chet is the next Thunder All-Star, does that mean Shea has been traded? And that's a possibility as well. Again, we aren't like pro-trade Shea on this podcast, obviously. We aren't like buying into the narrative that Shea wants out because the Thunder are going to suck. But there is a world where, Shea is traded after the season in order to move up to get a better draft pick if he thinks that's best for him. The Thunder agree that's best for them, etc., etc. So I just kind of thought that was an interesting comment to throw in there for Meek Leak.
You're a Shea hater.
Trade Shea.
Don't trade
It's just
Shea.
difficult. I don't know. I don't like it.
Agreed.
Are you guys ready to move on?
Yes.
Can we talk about something different now? Let's take a quick moment, tell our listeners about who sponsors the show for this week, and then we've got some stuff to close out. What's up, Thunder fans? This is Jacob from the Uncontested podcast, and I'm here to let you know that we have fully redesigned our merch store to get you the best Thunder swag available. Just visit cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested podcast to find all of our new designs. That's cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested podcast to find new drops like Josh Giddey's Wizard of Oz or an ode to the Trey Man Step Back. We've also got all the classics like Dortal Combat, Wu-Tang Clan, and everyone's favorite MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The best part? You can get any design and the style of apparel you want. So if you're gearing up for the summer and want a tank top, needing a hoodie for the winter in Australia, or you're wanting a Pokemon onesie for your baby, we've got you covered. Make sure to go to cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested podcast to get your new Thunder gear today. And we are back. Gentlemen, to end the show tonight, we're going to play an uncontested favorite, a game called Take It or Leave It.
Dun, dun, dun. I feel we need a sounder for Take It or Leave It. For
I
as much
agree.
as we play this,
It's been in the rotation for so long. It deserves its own sounder.
I agree.
I thought we had one. I was thinking we had one. I don't know. There's the Take It or Leave It song from I don't even remember those. Ray Strimmer, however you say that name. I don't know. They have a song called Take It or Leave It. Not a very great sounder though. But I thought we had one.
Maybe we do. I don't have
we'll
one.
just
Maybe
dig in the
Silva does.
archives.
He's not on the show tonight. Anyways, if you haven't been with us whenever we've played this game before, it's very simple. I'm going to give a statement to one of these guys. They're going to tell us that they're taking it, meaning they think the statement will be true, or if they're leaving it, like they don't think it's going to happen. They don't want to touch it. Justin, you get the first one. Take it or leave it. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. This is Rookies Edition. All these questions are about OKC rookies.
I like it.
Take it or leave it, Justin. Ousmane Dieng plays in double-digit G League games.
I'm absolutely taking that. Maybe you're like me and didn't know how many G League games were in a season. Well, lucky for you, I just Googled it. The answer is 32. So that means Oos plays
I believe
in...
next season there's 50.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, I'm an idiot. So this is 100% take it then if there's 50 games. Absolutely. I think he plays in 20 plus.
Justin, let me ask you a question. Do you know which Thunder rookie played the most G League games last season?
Wow. Okay.
You have Josh.
I was just going to say, I have to remember the rookies.
Josh, Trey, Jeremiah, Robinson, Earl, Aaron Wiggins.
Trey, I think.
Trey, do you know how many games it was?
20.
I was going to say like 12.
It is 7.
7?
Oh
Okay.
my!
Do you want another stat?
Yeah.
In the past 5 seasons, there's only been one lottery player to play double-digit G League games.
Wow.
That would be Jerome Robinson, selected by the Los Angeles Clippers in the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander draft. He played 22. The highest number aside of that, 7. I have the numbers here. Romeo Langford played 7.
Wow.
James Bouknight played 7. Josh Primo played 7. Jalen Smith played 6.
Very interesting.
That is.
That
feels like
Have you
information.
reconsider your Ousmane Dieng belief?
Kind of.
No, actually, no.
Interesting.
No. When has convention ever stopped Sam Presti?
Exactly.
We just go look at Josh Eustace. I mean,
Trapped in stash.
I'm not saying Oos is Josh Eustace. Please don't let him be Josh Eustace. But I think everything we've seen, he's rough around the edges. Maybe I back off my 20 plus take a little bit, but I still, if I were putting money on it today, I'm still taking the over 10. I think that because of how convenient the blue is for the Thunder, because of how much we know Presti likes the blue, and because of how raw Oos seems to be, I could see his numbers, being the new high over Trey Mann.
Could not agree more. Especially, I think you nailed it, Justin, when you speak about the convenience of the OKC Blue. It's very different than these other franchises that have, even prior to the Blue being in OKC, they were in Tulsa as a 66er. So you throw guys on a bus for an hour and a half, a bus ride. There are teams who, like, I think the Nuggets have their team in like Grand Rapids, and they didn't even have a team before that.
Yep.
That's an example that comes to the top of the head. All that being said, it's so convenient, and especially now playing in the same arena, essentially like a back-to-back kind of night. I kind of think about Poku in the situation last year, right? When comparing Dieng, not just because of the similarities in style of play and build, but I think he could be used similarly to Poku last season. So I think I agree with this one.
It's interesting. I don't know. I kind of lean on the under 7. I don't know.
Ooh,
The only benefit, like the only reason in my mind that I think it wouldn't is because what do the Thunder have to lose playing him on the NBA floor, right? Like
It's a good point.
There's
and
no
Chet's
downside
hurt,
there.
so there's more opportunity.
Exactly. Like especially with Chet's hurt. That could be the thing that stops it.
I think that's fair. Taylor, you get the next one. Take it or leave it. J-Dub plays in 1 or more G League games.
So I am leaving this one. Again, could be the Homer uncontested in me. We're very high on J-Dub here. However, again, like we just talked about with Chet being injured, more opportunity, even though I understand that Chet and J-Dub aren't necessarily going to play the same positions. All that being said, I would be pretty surprised if J-Dub is being sent down to the blue, especially when a player like Darius Baisley wasn't. I kind of view J-Dub's development track to be similar. I talked about Jang and Poku, comparing those two, right? I kind of compare J-Dub and Baisley as well and their development track with the Thunder. I'd be very surprised if J-Dub is sent down to the blue. I think he'll have a regular, what's the word I'm looking for? A regular role in the rotation immediately. And to Jacob's point that he's made over and over the past couple of weeks, hopefully that just increases as the season goes along.
Yep, I'm with you. J-Dub isn't sniffing the G League. The only time he is there is to watch other guys play. He's too good for the G League.
He's in the stands.
Justin, take it or leave it. Jay Will from Arkansas will play in 20 plus NBA games.
But you have a parenthesis here,
about to ask.
which is really tough.
Oh yes. I'm sorry. Non-tanking NBA games.
That makes it hard.
Tough.
That's what she said.
I knew
That,
was
or I guess
coming.
that'd be what he said. They could both say it simultaneously.
Jinx.
We don't discriminate here on the Uncontested.
20 games, hands down, yes. 20 games non-tanking? That's much more difficult to assess.
Agreed.
Because I don't want you always giving me more information after the fact anymore. Like the first question, I looked up how many games everyone played last year. Starting towards the bottom of the rotation, not at the very bottom because things got weird at the end of the season. So I'm going to skip the Georgios Kalazakis and Xavier Simpson era. But looking at like Olivier Sarr, 22 games, Lindy Waters, 25, Vít Krejci, 30. That like most of those were tanking games though. I think that's what makes it so hard to evaluate this one. But then if you keep going, Derek Favors, LOL, 39, Mike Muscala, 43, Isaiah Roby, 45, Ty Jerome, 48. Like that's really the jump right there. It's either Tankville or like half the season. It's kind of how the Thunder roster broke down last year. I'm gonna say over. I'm gonna say over reluctantly. I think it is gonna come down to how you define non-tanking. But
Touché.
I think, I could see him playing in, let's say, 35, 40 games next year.
Okay.
20 of those may be tanking games.
Interesting. He's gonna have to be better than he was in summer league. Because he looked.
It could be a few, it could be 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's very true.
I'm not saying it's a big chunk of time, but I could see him, getting out there for a few minutes a game.
I like it. Taylor, take it or leave it. J-Dub averages 12.5 points per game or more.
This was a tough one that I tried to, like, on the fly, meaning as we were podcasting, do just a tad bit of, I don't know if research is the right term here.
We're the type of students that Jacob hates.
I know.
Studying for the test.
We walk into his room like 5 minutes before the bell rings, and we open up our book and, oh, yeah, I kind of remember this, and get ready for the test beforehand. However,
Taylor is the Bill O'Reilly of students.
That's right. And you know what?
We'll do it live.
And I still get the A. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on this one. As much as I love J-Dub, 12.5 seems pretty high. For reference, last season, I'm looking at the points per game for the Thunder, obviously taking out the outliers like Georgios Kalazakis with 17.5 points per game.
Take a shot every time we
Jalen
mention
Horde,
Georgios.
14.7 points per game. We aren't going to Xavier Simpson, 11 points per game. We are not going to count those. But you look at Josh Giddey with 12.5 points per game as a rookie with a very, very high.
I wonder where I got that 12.5 number from.
I kind of figured. But you know what, Jacob? You and Nick had it wasn't Nick. It was you and Silva had a comparison that honestly I really liked. And a certain player also named Jaylen Brown. Granted, very, very different roles or rookie seasons. I know. I like it. I like it though. But very different roles, very different teams, their rookie seasons. But I'm looking at Jaylen Brown, only 6.6 points per game, just for reference. And then, again, not a similar type of player, but another Thunder rookie last season in Trey Mann, 10.4 points per game. So all that being said, I am leaving this. I think it'll be closer to the last one I referenced there, Trey Mann being 10.4 points per game, even if he is given an extended role. I just think there's so many players, so many scorers on this team, primary ball handlers, players with high usage that are going to fall in the pecking order higher than J-Dub will be, if that makes sense. And so because of that, I'm going to take the under.
You agree with that, Justin?
Yes, I do. I think that he's going to be very fun. I'm very excited about him, but I think that the Trey Mann call out is a great call out of like Trey Mann could get it and had some big scoring games, and he's still only averaged 10.4 points a game. I think that it's a little bit lofty to pin him at 12.5 for his rookie year, no matter how excited I am.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I'm there with you guys. Trey Mann shot his field goal percentage at the rim, 0 to 3 feet, was 53%. I just have a feeling J-Dub is going to be like automatic at the basket.
How many attempts do you think he's going to get, though?
Correct.
I love J-Dub almost as much as you do, Jacob.
What would
that
you,
is a lot of attempts?
If you had to pick a
number.
number.
Are we shutting down Shea? Like,
if I had to pick a number for J-Dub field goal attempts a game?
No, just points. Let's say points.
I think the 12.5 is really close.
Okay.
Ooh,
I think it's really, really close. I think it's right on the edge.
If that
12
happens,
to 13.
I think we're looking at. So you guys were throwing out player comps last week, or sorry, last Wednesday.
I think J-Dub will get like 9 field goal attempts a game.
If he,
I really think he gets more minutes than anybody else on the bench, and I don't think he's on the bench the entire season.
Agreed. But like, if he's getting 12.5 points per game his rookie season, we're taking it. So let's say slightly over. We're looking at like, again, you guys threw out the Jaylen Brown comp last week. Like, we're talking James Harden, OKC year, or OKC years, right? Which again, I would love. I am not capping J-Dub, not being able to reach that level. I just think that's, I don't know if that happens. I
said 12 to 13. Here are guys from last year's draft, rookies from last year, who averaged 11.5 or more. Davion Mitchell, Jalen Suggs, Josh Green, Chris Duarte, Evan Mobley, Franz Wagner, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham.
That's fair.
Chris Duarte averaged 13.
Yeah.
I think J-Dub is better than Chris Duarte.
I agree with that. I think he's better than
I don't think Chris
Mitchell
Duarte averages 13 on the Thunder.
That's where this gets interesting, right? You have
it's a good one. It's a good
right. Right.
I'm kind of good at coming up with these take it or leave it, guys. Justin, take it or leave it. Usman Jang averages 7.5 points per game.
Leave it all day, every day.
Wow.
Looking at the stats, I see where you got 7.6. That is the average of Poku.
Dang it.
Oh, no, that's actually not what I was going for.
Oh,
that's what I was
7.5, 7.6 was the lowest point per game average of all the rookies last season. I think it was JRE.
Okay. Yeah, JRE was 7.5 last year.
Mm-hmm. And
Poku
I think
was 7.6.
I think Aaron Wiggins was like at 8 something.
8.3.
And then obviously Josh and Trey 10 and a half, whatever, and then 12 and a half.
Yep.
So if you have under for Usman, you think he scores less points per game than any of the rookies on last year's team.
Correct.
I think I'm going to take this one, especially if we're saying, Justin, and you and I agreed on this one, that Us will have more, like, what was it, 20 games than G League. It's less of a sample size. We've seen that 3-point stroke. It's a lot better than what Poku's looked like his freshman season. Or, Jesus, his freshman. I'm very much in OU football mode right now, TU football mode. His rookie season. I could see Us having some solid games, especially later on in the season when he's getting more playing time and with more emphasis on his development. So because of that, I think I disagree on this one. I would take it. Jacob, what do you think?
I'm taking it.
Yes.
Put it at 8.5.
Bunch of homers.
8.5.
Put it at 8.5.
We're taking it.
No.
We're going 1 point above.
This is giving me some good ideas for preseason bets, though.
Good.
I'm getting
Good.
the vibe that Justin just hates Usman Jang.
I'm not excited about Usman Jang.
That's fair.
At
That's
least
fair.
now. Like,
Yeah.
he is what he is. I'm not saying he won't be good. I just don't think he'll be good this season, and I think that's okay.
Yep.
I think that's fine.
Taylor, take it or leave it. OKC has at least one rookie starting 20-plus games. This doesn't have to be the same person. There's just a rookie in the starting lineup 20 or more times this season.
Ooh, okay.
Cumulative.
So that helps me out a little bit on this one. So I'm definitely taking it. However, if you hadn't given me that disclaimer, I still would have taken it. Even though I know I was lower. We just had a fun little debate there on J-Dub and his points per game. I'm with you, Jacob. I think he starts more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one, especially when you say it doesn't have to be one specific player. It could be any of them.
J-Dub starting nonstop in 2023 after they trade one of the power forwards.
Yeah, that's right. Once Baisley's off this team, it's
someone's got to start. It's going to be
Yes.
J-Dub. Awesome. Justin, take it or leave it. Chet Holmgren takes part in 5-on-5 drills and scrimmages in practice before the regular season is over.
Oh my gosh. I hate this question. I hate you for asking it.
tough. These are really good ones coming up.
Listen, I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. I think for two reasons. One is the Thunder are not going to rush this at all. At all. There's no reason to. There's absolutely no reason to try to get him back. And we've seen how the Thunder have played injuries in the past. They're going to take it slow. I think what you'll see potentially during the season is like Chet on nobody workouts. I don't think you'll see him doing anything with other people. Not officially with the Thunder, like until much later in the summer. Like I'm thinking like about this time next year.
Oh, wow. I think we might see him in Summer League.
Boy, I don't know.
I think we might see him in Summer League.
I don't know.
But
I would love to see him in Summer League.
Yeah,
The
right.
heart says yes. My head
Isn't
says,
the general like Liz Frank recovery 6 to 8 months?
it's so it can be what I've seen because I've Googled Liz Frank way too much over the last month or so. Is like it can take a year to return to like what they call like, you know, heavy activity or intense activity, which in parentheses usually says like running / playing sports.
Ugh.
So, and
He
like
also has
again,
better access to
definitely, you know,
treatment,
he's not going to the PT
but-
clinic down the street. He's getting the
Right.
best of the best.
No
But
offense to the PT
but-
clinic folks that work down the
Listen.
street. I'm sure you guys are great.
both my parents were physical therapists. I know it all too well. I just they're gonna play it conservatively. I think he's gonna be doing. Hopefully, we see him on the court, like shooting around after practice, things like that. Like I'll get excited to see that, but that's all I anticipate seeing by the end of the season.
I think I agree with Justin on that one.
Fair. Taylor,
I'm going to overanalyze it like nobody's business.
Did you
Taylor.
see his ankle flex there? I mean, that foot looks great.
Take it or
He's good to
leave it.
go.
Chet adds 10 pounds before the season is over.
I like this one a lot. I also think it's a very solid over-under. However, maybe it's the Thunder optimist in me, the Thunder homer in me. I'm going to go ahead and take this one as well. I just think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think he's just going to gain like a ridiculous amount of weight because that obviously is a serious foot injury. So it's not like he's going to be able to put on a lot of lower body weight, lower body strength until that foot is truly healed and ready to go. But with all that being said, being able to eat, not having to go through the day-to-day grind. Like there was some ridiculous stat that came out. You guys might remember it better than I. Talking about Chet and like back in college and the calories he has to consume just to maintain his weight during a basketball season, not even necessarily the NBA season. Him not having to go through that and being able to go through or be in an NBA system, an NBA, you have trainers and nutritionists at your disposal. I just think he'll absolutely gain 10 pounds would be my guess.
I'm going to ship him to New Orleans and let him hang out with Zion, get on the Zion diet.
There you
and
go.
We'll be golden.
Hit those, hit the gumbo, the jambalaya, all the good stuff.
Can't go wrong. Bag of beignets to go, call it a day.
We start to see a theme with like the games that Chet gets to go to on away games. Like he can't go
Good
to
food cities.
he can't go to Houston, but he can go to New Orleans and Los Angeles and New York.
Now we're talking.
Chicago pizza, Detroit pizza.
Justin, take it or leave it. OKC gets at least one player on the all-rookie team.
The or A? All rookie.
On a all-rookie team.
Okay.
So it can be first or second team. I was trying to process what the hell is Taylor trying to say to me right now.
The or A?
Not the all-rookie team,
above.
like first team. It could be first or second.
Okay.
At least one Thunder player.
I'm leaving it. I feel like I'm being very negative.
Why don't we
tonight.
let Justin come on the podcast?
My guy just had a baby. He is sleep deprived.
I think that we are very excited about J-Dub, rightfully so. I think we are inflating expectations of J-Lub a smidge, knowing that Chet is out. Like, do we think, let me reframe this question. If Chet's playing, do we think they get two players on the all-rookie team?
Yes.
No.
Wow.
Because I don't think so. And I don't think that changes just because Chet's hurt.
That's fair. That's fair. Meekly, again, I mentioned him earlier, brings up a solid question, or sorry, a solid response. If we were to rephrase this question, does J-Dub make the all-rookie team? Maybe that was your response
Usman
to
could
me.
make it, but Justin's a hater.
No. Usman
Sipping
cannot
that
make it.
haterade.
No.
Look, I
I think J-Dub will get on it. I feel very strongly about that one. Like, very
kinda
strongly.
feel like he has the, like, he could potentially get the Herb Jones second all-rookie team from this previous season. Like, I feel like he could fill that void.
The
Not for
thing
the
for
same
me
reason.
also is you have to find 10 rookies that are going to be better than J-Dub. There's not a guard forward differentiation on the all-rookie team.
True.
Yep.
So when I look at that, like, Chet's out of the equation. Maybe Johnny Davis does something, but he looks like garbage.
Yeah.
At least in summer league. Maybe the same thing with Jabari Smith Jr. Maybe he just doesn't produce. I mean, there's going to be guys farther down the list that play well. Tari Eason looks good, but trying to find 10 guys right now to convince me, hey, there are 10 other rookies that are going to be more productive than J-Dub next season. I don't know. Also, Meek Leak still here says if Usman makes all rookie, he'll buy 100 uncontested t-shirts. This is now recorded on a podcast, Meek. So you said it, not me, brother.
Get ready. No, it would be interesting. This is homework for another day, but like comparing draft lottery order to all rookie teams and see like how much variance there is.
Oh,
That
that'd
would be kind of
fascinating.
interesting to do. Not going to do that. I'm not that bored, but I think, yeah, it feels like there's always some like, pick 2, 3, maybe 4 of like late first round, second round guys that end up making all rookie.
And all rookie and rookie of the year doesn't necessarily dictate future success.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
I'm forgetting the name of the kid that won rookie of the year for Philly and sucked and got traded like his next season and then has just faltered out of the league. What played at
Markel
Syracuse?
Fultz?
No. Played at Syracuse, had a hyphenated last name.
Kid Gilchrist?
No.
Not Kid Gilchrist.
Point guard.
Carter Williams? Michael
Carter Williams, MCW.
Knew it was one of those hyphenated fellas.
Yep. All right. Taylor's on dad duty. So, Justin, you get the last one. Take it or leave it. OKC has a rookie score 30 plus in a single game.
I'm with Meek Leak. We can just rephrase all these as, does J-Dub have a 30-point game?
Ye of little faith.
Yes. J-Dub has a 30-point game. We're going to have a game late in the season where J-Dub is the focal point of the team. And I think he's going to give Jacob everything he ever wanted in that game. It's going to be magical. Much like we got from Trey Mann last year. I think we'll get a brief glimpse at glory once again with J-Dub.
I love it. Do you know what Josh's game high was last year in points?
Did he hit 30? 20, I'm going to say 26?
28. He got up to 28.
I didn't think he hit 30, but I knew Trey Mann did, right?
Yes, Trey Mann got a 30 piece. JRE had 18 in a game. I think J-Dub gets 30 easy. He's just too smooth of an operator, man.
I love the confidence.
I know it's ridiculous. I think he's going to be really, really good. And I think a lot of times we forget he was a junior. He's older. He's ready to come in and contribute.
Yep.
He's going to have a learning curve, but I feel good. I feel good. I don't know.
That much is clear.
Lots of comments in the chat tonight. I want to hit a few of them. 6-star, which I'm assuming is a Raptors fan, says, would you trade Shea for Fred VanVleet and picks? Seems like Raptor fans already think that it's a done deal.
I would rather castrate myself.
If you made it, would you trade Shea for Scotty Barnes plus picks? I think that's where the conversation starts.
Then yes.
Is that wrong?
No.
I think Shea's value is Scotty Barnes plus 2 firsts.
Yeah. Thunder have no use for Fred at all. None.
Yeah, completely agree. Camille asks, I got a question for you guys. How long or how many games do SGA and Josh need to find chemistry?
That's a great question. I think that'll be one of the fun things to watch this year, much like it was last year. I would expect this season, I'd give them 20 to 30 maybe. I think they're going to try some more stuff out. Like the first part of the season's experimentation a little bit, it's trying out things you worked on in the off season. It's mixing things up a little bit. I think we're going to see that. Hopefully by, the midway point in the season, you start to see maybe what that duo could be.
I think it'll be a little bit sooner than that. I foresee them finding that rhythm really in that between Thanksgiving and Christmas period. I think that's probably a good spot. Colin Reed says, take it or leave it. Half of Taylor's bets will be incorrect on the Yearly Bets podcast.
Only half?
I'm taking it.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it for all of us. We're not good at bets.
Yeah. We're also not good at paying bets.
I mean, by nature, half of them have to be right, but
that is true. Justin, anything else before we get out of here?
God bless America and God bless J-Dub.
That's all I got. Better myself. Can you still hear me? Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the Uncontested. If you don't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Drop a 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate it. It also helps more people find us and helps Taylor pay for diapers. Check out our merch store. Follow us on socials. Get ready for the season because that's right around the corner. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a minute. If you joined the live stream tonight, thank you so much. Until next week, and as always, thunder up.